United Nations experts have warned that the next 5 years will almost certainly be the hottest since records began. The World Meteorological Organization said it was now more likely than not that a key target to limit global warming to no more than 1.5 degrees would be breached during this time, with far-reaching repercussions. Scientists warned that the world was entering uncharted territory because temperatures have never been as high and that the consequences will be catastrophic. Well, Arise correspondent Lape Olarinoye has been monitoring this story and she joins me now live from London. Good to see you, Lape. So a stark warning about how fast our planet is heating up. You've seen that report from the World Meteorological Organization. Take us through the main points briefly.
Well, what this new development shows is what many people have been saying for a number of years, and even more recently, campaign groups have raised the awareness and the concern about the possibility that the entire universe could be much warmer. Now, we've heard this figure severally, 1.5. This report is showing that by the end of this year, the planet could essentially be much warmer than 1.5C, which is very, very, of course, as you can imagine, quite concerning for many people who have been saying this for years and years and years. On top of that as well, it is concerning for world leaders who have made this a priority to essentially reduce global warming and to cut emissions down. Just recently, particularly in the UK, there were negotiations and discussions around pledges to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions to net zero. There has been this familiar motto circulating globally in terms of climate discussions about net zero. This, of course, puts things in a tougher position where if that doesn't happen sooner, we, the world, the climate, the entire world is in a really, really dire state. Now, this, of course, this report has brought more pressure onto government, onto people, onto individual responsibility for us to make much more stringent changes to our lifestyle. The planet has gradually gotten hotter, but if not worse in the last couple of decades, a result of lifestyles and, of course, what we're eating, and more importantly, the reliance on oil.
Yes, well, you've sort of answered a number of questions there, because I was going to ask you if this is something that's going to be incredibly dangerous and could trigger many more problems ahead. Because, I mean, just 3 years ago, the World Meteorological Organization said there was less than a 20% chance of breaching that 1.5 threshold. It's now 66% in their report today. And I mean, that's alarming, as you said, but just talk us through what has changed.
What has definitely changed, of course, is our reliance on fossil fuels. In particular, the damage that burning fossil fuels, as well as using a lot more cars over has contributed to the world, the climate. And of course, that doesn't go anywhere. Many people have the preconception that actually, if we're having more children, if the world is getting bigger, if we're not changing our attitudes to sustainability, that these things just go away. And the pandemic really brought that to light, where everybody was, of course, locked away and so on. And the positive result that happened within the climate was very much evident. Now, there's an addition and contributing factor to this as well is also what we're eating. The reliance on eating meat, very much carnivorial diets, have also contributed to the globe and to the world warming up a lot faster than intended. Now, of course, those are just some of them. Lifestyle changes make up a huge part of that. There are planes now. There's been the Industrial Revolution many years ago that have also quickened the way people choose to live their lives. People every single day at all hours of the day. Those are causing emissions. People are driving more. There's the emergence of trains. And a lot of those contributions to that 66% that you mentioned, Child, is to do with our lifestyle. And of course, like I said, what we're eating, and the kind of attitudes that we have towards sustainability and renewable sources of energy. Those have all contributed. Now, it's not all doom and gloom, because in the last couple of years, as this awareness began to raise concerns, shall I say, about this more and more, there has been a call globally to change our attitudes to the way in which we live our lives. People opted to remain off grid in the very extreme cases. Others have decided that they're not going to drive as much. In the UK, I can give you the example, is that there's certain areas that typically are over-congested, overpopulated, that now has almost become a no-car zone. Even more recently, a low emission introduced to reduce the number of cars who are emitting carbon dioxide from driving within certain areas. Of course, that's contributed to the air quality in London improving, but it's just a drop in an ocean. There are parts, there are countries all over the world that those lifestyle changes haven't been implemented in governmental change, and that's where we're seeing kind of this increase of temperature taking place.
Lape, thanks very much indeed. Lape Olarinoye, Arise correspondent, talking to me that from London.